Okay, yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Hi, my name is Gina. I'm here with Kyla Mitsunaga. We are talking about family constellation work. But before we get into that, Kyla, I want you to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, my name is Kyla. I am a certified family constellations facilitator. I personally got into this work, or we say in this work that it finds you, you don't find it. And it found me because my mom was diagnosed with an early onset dementia, and I fell into this deep depression for 2.5 years. And then along the way, along my healing journey, I tried around 25 or so different healing modalities and then just got certified in the best ones. So theta healing, integrative hypnosis, life coaching, happiness coaching, corporate and happiness coaching, and of course, family constellations.
Right. Okay. But I knew you were going to do this. So I wrote down some stuff about you.
Okay.
I knew you were going to bypass some stuff about things you've done and accomplished in your life. So I'm going to chime in for you.
Okay.
Kyla is an award-winning professor. In fact, she was Teacher of the Year 2011, 2012, and 2015. She has landed herself on the 51 most fabulous global happiness leaders in 2021. She is a subconscious mind expert. She has overcome depression. She has done a TED Talk, and she has written 2 books. That's Kyla. So
Thank you.
We are going to take a very small focus of family constellations. I don't think a lot of people know what it is. And I have become somewhat obsessed with it because of you. And I have just dipped my toe. I mean, I have not, it takes me a while sometimes to get through things and process through things, but it's pretty exciting. And I want to dive into that a little bit with you. So for those who are not familiar with it, could you explain what it is and how the therapeutic approach works?
Yeah, of course. So it was founded by a German psychoanalyst named Bert Hellinger in the 1990s. He was a missionary working and living with the Zulu tribe in South Africa. And all you really need to know about that is that the Zulu tribe, like a lot of indigenous tribes, not just the Zulu, have languaging around how they speak to and about their ancestors who are living and non-living. Mm-hmm. An example of this is, for example, in the West, we have this greeting when we see each other, like, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? And then you may or may not stay around for the answer as you're grabbing your groceries and running out the door. Mm-hmm. In the Zulu tribe, their greeting is, I see you. Mm-hmm. What that means is, I see and acknowledge all of you, not just the good parts, not just the convenient parts, but all the parts, mm-hmm. the sticky parts, the messy parts, all of the parts. Mm-hmm. So much of this work is about acknowledging what is. And we use a lot of the Zulu tribe languaging to do that. We use their healing sentences. I mean, you've witnessed some of this in a family constellation setting. It's very powerful. And then Bert Hellinger combined it with a bunch of different Western therapies. Okay. And all we really need to know about that is the main one is Carl Jung's work on archetypes. And all we really need to know about that is sometimes when there's things that are sticky in our lives, like fear or anxiety or stress, we don't have a way to talk to those things, right? Mm-hmm. So it just stays inside and drives us nuts. Mm-hmm. So with archetype work, you can have an object, and in our case in family constellations, like people, to represent those things for you. Fear. What might it say to you? What might you say to it? Right? And so it's getting out of here, out of your thoughts, and out into the open. So you're not carrying that anymore. How does it work in real life? There's one person that comes in as the client. We call the client in Family Constellations speak seeker. The seeker comes in with anything that they would come into with a therapist or a life coach. It doesn't have to be necessarily about family. That's a misnomer. Although, and then all roads lead back to family of origin anyway. So as we were talking about before this interview. So you would come in with any kind of issue, anything that's keeping you up at night. And then I would ask some probing questions. There'd be people in the group. And then based on the questions that I ask and the answers that I get, you as the seeker would choose someone to represent you, maybe your mom, maybe your dad, maybe fear, and anything else that may need to be represented. And then I, as a facilitator, would facilitate this for your highest and best catharsis. I've been talking a lot, so let me know if you have questions.
Well, let's just stop for 1 minute. So for all my visual people out there, just to set the scene for you, and I've done this work with Kyla as a facilitator. I went in with, hey, I don't really know what's going to go on. Let's just do it. I trust Kyla. Let's see what happens here. There was probably about, 10 people there.
That day there was like 13. That was probably one of my bigger ones.
In a circle. You're not necessarily going to be the person who's called upon, just so everyone knows. If you are, you're called upon into the middle of the circle, and then there's two people, the seeker, and then who's the other person? What do you call the other person?
The facilitator, or?
There's you, and then there's two other people, right? Or is it just you and the other person?
Yeah, it's just me.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Me and then the seeker, but then the seeker will choose someone to represent them. The seeker rep will be, and then all the other representatives will be in the circle.
Okay, so the seeker chooses someone. Now there's three people in the circle. The seeker, the rep, and you. Just to paint the picture.
Yeah, so me, the seeker is sitting down. So like no other modality that I've tried 25, the seeker, the client, is a third-party observer in watching their constellation.
Yeah.
And they have a representative in
who's
the right.
Okay, that's right. Sorry, I just wanted to get the visual out there. So you're up there, and say somebody jumps in there and they're like, I want to talk about fear, right? What would that look like? How would that roll out?
Yeah. So if there is a seeker and they came in, so how we do one constellation per hour. Usually my constellation circles are 3 hours. We do one constellation per hour. That means we have one seeker per hour. Sort of like group therapy, right? Except as my clients call it, group therapy on steroids. Because it's really souped up. The root very quickly of whatever you want to deal with. So let's say a seeker came in and they wanted to deal with the fear of growing their business. This is very big. This is something I deal with a lot. A lot of my clients are women, coaches and healers and entrepreneurs. They want to grow their business. It's very scary. They want to take up more space. It's very scary. They want to do a TED Talk. It's very scary.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever that may look like, right? So I would ask this seeker some questions, right? So generally I go with a feeling. What's the feeling when you think about getting on a TED stage? Oh, fear. Okay. If the fear could talk to you, what might it say? I'll just say my one, right? I'll just speak for myself every day. Who are you to do that? You don't know enough. You're going to look like an idiot. So those are some things that fear might say to me. Okay. So then I would ask the seeker, well, whose voice in your family of origin does that sound like? And for me, it's always my mom.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's a clue there for us, right? So we would then have the seeker choose someone to represent themselves and choose someone to represent their mom. And then we would go from there, right? Maybe their dad needs to come in or not. Don't know. Would ask some more probing questions. And then from there, I would facilitate some of the healing sentences that need to take place
Mhm.
for the seeker's highest and best catharsis. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And what I was surprised by when I did the session with you was I was not called upon. So I was just witnessing. And at first I was bummed. I was like, oh, I'm not called upon. Like, let's dive. I'm here. Let's dive in. But the witnessing part of it was so profound, so much more than I could relay at the time. But processing through it, what I realized is we're all connected and we all have very similar issues. We just don't know it because we don't talk about it. Right.
Exactly.
And that's what I learned watching. And I really enjoyed it. And it really, I saw the people who were doing the session, it really helped them so much. And so quickly, like you said, 3 hours. That was it.
Yeah, and what is so beautiful about this work? So, in a lot of other therapeutic models, like traditional talk therapy, for example, one-on-one work is the most powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fastest. You can reveal things. You just, it's just that kind of work, right? Like coaching, traditional talk therapy, whatever it would be, right? However, family constellations is a modality where collective healing is just off the hook. So whether you're witnessing like you did, Gina, or you're representing, or you're facilitating, or you're the seeker and you're watching, we say in this work that your family system will have healing.
Yeah.
That means your family system, yes, you were just an observer, and I wouldn't even say you're just a witness. Your family system will have healing. What needed to be healed by witnessing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real power of this. We're all tapping into something Bert Hellinger called the field,
Mm-hmm.
which is the closest we can get to is like, it's an energy field that's greater than all of us, that connects all of us.
Yeah.
But that's what we're tapping into. So yes, there is like, yeah, the oneness theory. I am you and you are me, and we're all connected and we're all very similar, and and energetically we are connected, and we're tapping into the field to get this information, this wisdom, bring it into the constellation, so we're all getting healed of what we need to be healed. And we say that person who goes as the seeker, right? I put names in a hat. Every facilitator is different.
Mm-hmm.
I put names in a hat, and whoever is picked, those 3 that are picked that day, is what needed to come out in the field for everyone's collective benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So let's say you came that day, right? And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just trust Kyla. Thank you very much, by the way. I don't know what this thing is. I just wanted to experience it, which is amazing. And maybe in your family system, in your somewhere along the line of your lineage, your mom's side or your dad's side or your current family, whatever the other seeker had going on in their constellation, you needed to witness that for your family system's healing.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm such a processor. I mean, after that session, I was thinking of all the things, right? All the things with my parents, all the things with my brother. just processing in a deeper level than I had before. So that's how it affected me. And it was really, really cool. And again, you know me, I processed for a long time. So I kind of, will go process and then I need a break. And then I process, I need a break. It takes me a while, but I get there and I'm constantly doing it, in which this is what I loved about it so much. So we kind of talked about how it can help individuals uncover and address family dynamics and patterns impacting their lives. What would you say is one of the challenges you see the most that people bring up? Like, what are the top two things?
I would say self-worth and self-love.
Oh.
And I can expand on that, right? So self-worth as it relates to money, asking for more, right? Do I deserve it? I can share this one because it's out. One of my clusties, I call my clients clusties, clients turn besties. One of my clusties, she came in and again, had no idea what Family Constellations was. She came through another clustie who, she just was like, yeah, I have these self-worth issues around my business. Like, should I go to Kyla? What is she actually, what is Family Constellations? Like, can that help me? And my other clustie was like, just go. I love that too. That's like such great advice, right? I'm not going to explain what it is. Just go. So she came and she did one, and it was a group one. And she's like, yeah, I have these challenges around self-worth. So we just sort of look into her family system. So we put up reps for her mom, dad, for her and her brother. And what was very clear that came out of that whole thing was that it had nothing to do with her. The relationship that was heaviest was between her father and her brother. Because her rep was just like, I'm good. I'm just watching this thing.
Yeah.
Like it was really interesting for her to watch that.
Yeah.
And then a week later, she texts me and she's like, I had my best month yet, and it was so great. I donated 40% of it to charity. Wow. So it really, right? A lot of this work, people are like, oh, it's woo-woo. And that's sort of what, what would be good to bring up here. It's not woo-woo. It's grounded in science. It sounds like it's woo-woo, but it's not. Yeah. There's a great book called, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wallen. No. It's one of Oprah's favorite books on trauma. Okay. And Mark Wallen is Family Constellations facilitator. His story, this is a slight tangent, but I think it'll make sense for our listeners. Mark Wallen's story is sort of very similar to mine. He had a degenerative eye disease, which was hereditary. For me, it was my depression, right? So he went around the world and sort of was searching for a thing, like to help himself, to heal naturally, organically. He ends up in Indonesia with a guru, and gets really good at meditating. And these are his words. He's actually very funny. He's like, look at me. I'm really good at meditating. I can meditate for 24 hours. And the gurus are like, go home. And he's like, but I'm so good at meditating. And the guru's like, your beef is at home with your family of origin. Oh. You can't outrun that right? You can't go to Indonesia and like.
That's right.
Right? You can't blink it away, right? Like, wish it away, no matter how good you get at meditating. So anyway, so he comes back. He's actually in the Bay Area, or I don't know if he still is, but he's, was in the Bay Area, and happened upon Family Constellations, or maybe the work found him, started doing it, and he can literally figuratively see now. Wow. He regained his eyesight, right? Because in Family Constellations work, you can have people represent illness, right? Like
Sure.
degenerative eye disease, cancer, heart disease, whatever.
Oh, you just gave me chills. You just gave me chills.
Yeah, it's so profound, right? Imagine if you have cancer, being able to talk to it.
Yeah.
Why is it here, right? And that sort of will segue into because you asked about the different challenges, right, that people bring in. So
Yeah.
self-worth as it relates to money,
Okay.
because I primarily work with women, and then self-love as it primarily relates to dis-ease in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I ran another constellation with a woman who has cancer. The cancer rep steps in. This is so fascinating. Cancer rep steps into the field and like, cancer rep, how are you? And cancer rep is like, I don't know. I don't think I need to be here. That's everyone's dream. Yeah, cancer, we don't want you to be here either, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we need to acknowledge it, right? Acknowledge it in order to heal it. We can't ignore it. So cancer rep comes in. I don't think I need to be here. And then, okay, so I asked cancer rep, well, who do you think you are then? Instead of cancer, what might you be? And this is the rep, not me. Totally changes her rep and is like, oh, I'm love. I'm actually like love. I'm here to remind her to like take care of herself and love herself.
Oh.
And put herself first.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, so it's just really crazy.
Oh, is that how you overcame the depression? Through
That
family?
is, I mean, I would say the second time around, my first entry point into spirituality was through theta healing work.
Okay.
Do we need to explain that, or
Yeah, let's explain
it?
that. Well, let's explain it.
Okay, so theta healing was founded by an American woman named Vianna Steibel, who lives on a ranch in Montana, of course. And she combined, I would say, different elements, but it's closest to sort of like hypnotherapy.
Okay.
Where we're working, it's called theta because we're working in the theta brain wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
So for our listeners, we start at gamma, which you're awake, your brain wavelengths are very high. It drops down into beta, where we are now with Gina.
Mm-hmm.
We're both awake and we're just having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Then it drops down from beta into alpha, which is the meditative state. Underneath alpha is theta.
Okay.
And it's even more deeper relaxed state. And that's one above delta, which is sleep.
Okay.
Okay. So we work in theta.
Okay.
And all you really need to know about that is theta healing works in 4 levels on limiting beliefs. Okay. So this life, 7 generations back, very, very first ancestors, and any kind of past life. So there's some overlap with past life regression therapy.
Okay.
And we just basically, we have a protocol. We get to the root of any kind of limiting belief that you have. With your permission, we release it and we download you with a belief that does serve you. So basically, it's limiting belief work.
Okay.
So I did that for basically the first 2.5 years of my depression. So clearing limiting beliefs, clearing limiting beliefs, clearing limiting beliefs. And so because of that, my mind was becoming so clear, I started building out my medium and psychic abilities, which we say in theta healing, anybody can. You don't have to be born with it or special.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps to answer.
So that got you over this, you said the first hump of depression.
Yeah.
So are we on the second one? Where are we?
I don't know, lost count.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll share this story that I think will be very helpful for listeners. So I did a lot of work in limiting belief, right? So with depression, right, Depression for me, was never about the top thing, right? Which was my mom's dementia.
Mhm.
What I uncovered in Theta Healing was that, hey, it's layers deep. I never really knew myself.
Mm. Mm.
Ironically, as you know, 51 fabulous happiness leaders around the world, I created a happiness workshop, brought it around the world. I was calling myself a global happiness coach.
You
And
were.
then, yeah, I couldn't make myself happy, right?
Yeah.
There are layers of irony. My inner people pleaser was very happy, pleasing away, making other people happy through this workshop.
Yeah.
And yet I didn't know who I was, right? So
Mm.
that's the rub. And the invitation from the universe, right? Like,
Mhm.
here, you didn't learn it the first time.
Yes.
Here's a depression to help
Yeah.
you learn about it now, right? So
Yes.
now, working in that for 2.5 years, then Family Constellations found me. And in my first one-on-one session, you can do this work one-on-one, just as powerful. I realized and uncovered that I was in many, many roles that are not my own. And what I mean by that is I was my mother's mother. That means my grandmother, because she had died, which I think spiraled my mom into depression, which then eventually led to her dementia.
Mm.
I was playing the role of her mother, my grandmother. I was playing the role of her husband, my dad. I was playing the role of her this daughter, my sister. I was also playing the role of her friends, because a lot of her friends stopped hanging out with her, right? Because she would forget appointments in the
Mm.
early stages. And all of these roles I was playing, except for the role of her second daughter. No wonder I was so depressed,
Right.
right? I mean, as women, those of you who identify as women, we're socially conditioned to carry a lot of roles.
Mhm.
And we're socially conditioned to feel bad if we're not. Oh, you're a bad daughter. You're a bad wife. You're a bad whatever. Right. So this modality is also, very, very good at making sure that you are stepping into your proper place in your family system.
Yeah.
And it sounds simple, but it's very deep work.
Yeah.
And it can be simple too. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Oh. Well, when I was doing a little bit of research for our interview, I came up with this quote from somebody that says, the research in epigenetics has shown that the unconscious programming we have inherited dictates as much as 95% of our experience of life. And it makes me think about what you just said, because if you have 9 roles that aren't really yours, that you're working through every day, and then you have maybe one role that's you, and then your mom gets dementia, which is connected to those 9 roles. Wow.
Yeah, and I can do you one better. I love that data. I can do you one better too, or like not better, but like piggyback on that.
Yeah.
The other piece of this that's so profound that I never really understood before Family Constellations work, and the Zulu tribe like had it down, is my mom's fate of her, her illness, right? Like Mark Wallen's dad having the degenerative eye disease that got passed out to him, right? Mark Wallen's dad, my mom, any of our parents, their fate is their fate. It's not ours to carry.
Right.
Sometimes as children, we, out of love and connection and respect, we carry our parents' fate and we follow them into death.
Yes. Oh.
Right. And
Yeah.
that needs, right? We don't have a modality that helps us put ourselves in our proper place.
Right.
This is the modality that does that. And the reason why it's so profound and the reason why it works is because our brains, we have this hunter-gatherer brain that understands this. We were also from indigenous, way back when we were living as tribes.
Mm-hmm.
This is very natural and organic for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then to your point on the data, in Mark Wallen's book, he talks about how they looked at women who were preggers during 9/11, and they witnessed 9/11. They were in New York, and 50% of those babies were born with PTSD.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's epigenetics.
The trauma lineage. Yes.
Exactly.
Oof. That gives me chills. Well, I mean, this is why the work is so important and so needed, because like you said, you can't run from it, right?
Mm-hmm. You can't go to Indonesia.
Right. You can't go to Indonesia and start meditating for 24 hours. You still with it. I know every time I think of why am I feeling this urge to go on a retreat? I have to sit back and go, what is it that I'm running from right now? Or what is it that I don't want to deal with? Because I love retreats and I want to go on them. But I want to make sure I'm really going on them in a right state of mind and not trying to get away from something.
Yeah.
And so I have to ask myself why I'm doing it before I do.
I mean, that's so self-aware. And what I would add, because, I mean, I love that for you and for everybody. I think that's great. And, we, as humans, there's a power of paradox being in this human existence, right? And what I mean by that is, yes, we can try to logic brain some shit, right? Like, why does Family Constellations work so good? It's not mainstream. It's not traditional talk therapy. Or what's underneath my wanting to escape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we're hunters and gatherers, because we lived in tribes, we also need to go on retreat so that we can look at things and explore things. I mean, the right types of retreat, because I run retreats, and do it in a safe, supportive group container.
Yeah.
Where we feel held, right? And because women carry so much stuff, it's very rare for women to get the opportunity to not cook, clean, do all the things, and just have time for their business or themselves.
Right.
And a dedicated time, right? So we can hold the and in that paradox, right? Which is this sort of like dance, right? Of like tango, sometimes I don't know. Yeah, if that makes sense.
And some of your offerings that you do is Asians Women's Collective Retreat.
Mm-hmm.
You do body and food retreats, soul business retreats, and you do family constellation retreats too, right?
Yeah, they're all under the umbrella of Family Constellations retreats.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. When's your next retreat coming up?
So our next one is October 15th through 17th. That's a business constellations intensive retreat, 3 days on site, and then a 3-month virtual weekly container on Zoom, where we do Family Constellations weekly on Zoom, just as profound on Zoom.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. And then the next one is in November. It's a all Asian women's Family Constellations intensive retreat. And it's the first one and only one that I know of that's entirely for Asian women, using Family Constellations as the modality, run by an Asian woman. and catered by an Asian woman. So I bring my food and homemade kimchi and all the things.
Yes.
And I drag my husband to cook it all.
Yes.
So, and then for folks who are, non-Asian identifying, our next retreat that's open to all will be in February 4th through 7th in 2025.
Okay, awesome. So I will link also to you so people can find all of this information. I do want to leave with, this is a book that Kyla wrote that you can tell I've earmarked it. I love it so much. But one of your quotes that you wrote, you said, you can't choose your family, but you can choose to learn and grow with them. And that's the work. Do you remember saying that? That's the work.
I don't remember saying that.
That's the work with Family Constellation.
Oh.
Because you're not trying to avoid it. You're not trying to judge it. You're just trying to understand it. And it's really powerful. And I read that, I thought that's exactly what it is.
Oh, thanks, babe. That's so thoughtful.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Likewise.
Coming to my podcast. As you know, it's new. I'm just starting this off, and I am so thankful that you decided to give me some of your time.
Thank you. And I hope you're putting links to how people can find you and how they can work with you.
I'm getting there. It's rolling out. It's rolling out. So thank you.
Yay.